This is Jonathan Ferguson, the Keeper of Firearms and Artillery at the Royal Armouries Museum in the UK, which houses a collection of thousands of iconic weapons from throughout history. And in this episode, we've really broken poor Jonathan by showing him the mad arsenal of Borderlands 3. Yeah, this one's not even a gun, but
goodness sake.
People would be upset if I didn't show you this.
I'm upset that you have shown me this.
We showed Jonathan a fair chunk of Borderlands 3, so we'll be revisiting the game for a second episode coming soon, so make sure to subscribe if you want to check that out later on. And if there are any other games, guns, or mechanics that you guys want to see Jonathan break down, let us know in the comment section below. Right, let's dive into the mad guns of Borderlands 3.
Yeah. This is my reaction to that. Hey, the series is called Expert Reacts, and that's my reaction. So, as I try to marshal my thoughts here, what is this? This is a sort of hybrid pistol carbine thing, but it doesn't have a stock or an ability to fit one. Looks to be single action, sort of high-tech lines to it. A permanently attached bayonet, which is weird in itself. I think I'm probably looking at the artifact here of putting a muzzle device on something, but if not, you haven't got much bayonet left on this. So in this configuration, we've got, what, a couple of inches sticking out the front of blade. Otherwise, you'd have to use it to sort of slash with, which I suppose would be better than nothing. Massive muzzle brake on there. Don't really know why. It looks to be firing 4440 or something similar to that. They don't look like real rounds. So it's got a Winchester or a shotgun style side saddle cartridge holder on the left side of it. A really weird red dot sight with sort of old school leather eye cup on it. Don't know how that's supposed to work. Maybe it's just a red dot and that's just a glare shield. Let's go with that. And the whole thing looks to break open for reloading, but let's see how it works. All right, that's a slightly weird take on fanning, which I think we've spoken about before, but is where you hold down the trigger and you slap the hell out of the hammer, because otherwise you'd have to cock it to fire it. I don't know what, I think that was there's either a special ability. Let's go with special ability. It almost looked like the ammunition changed and then he could suddenly fan it really quickly. So even though it's manual, this is a manually operated firearm, not semi-automatic, it's not fully automatic, but we're able to speed up our manual operation to submachine gun speeds. Right, so I thought that sight was some sort of a red dot reflex sight. It's not. What it is inexplicably a lens rear aperture thing, and then a weird kind of almost like light bulb filament front sight out front. Essentially, this is just an illuminated front sight like you see on a pistol with old-fashioned night sights. And then the rear aperture is a really wide pair of scope bar reticle things. This doesn't make any sense as a sight. I'm guessing this just increases your accuracy when you have it equipped, and it doesn't affect really how you experience aiming with this setup. That would be my guess. Okay, we've got some kind of a submachine gunny looking space gun thing. Reminds me of something, and I think that something is a Nerf gun. Clearly it's beyond my ken as to how this works, so let's just watch it.
Finally!
Okay, pause there. That's a new one. So we throw this rifle roughly to the floor and it grows legs and starts attacking of its own accord. That is very Borderlands, isn't it? Interesting. So you've got your own sentry gun, and then we magically have another one after we've thrown that one. I think I'm going to struggle to follow this, to be honest with you.
Commence firing sequence. Pew, 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 pew.
Of course it has a voice, and it says pew pew. It's just, it all makes sense, but only within the universe of Borderlands, I think. Okay, they really love trigger guards in this game. Otherwise, it's another gun very far removed from reality. Maybe a hint of G36 there with that pseudo carry handle on the top there. And a drum magazine inspired by some, I guess, something like the X products drum mag, and it's a bullpup. So I automatically have an affinity for it, having written 630 odd pages on bullpups. And yeah, this is worth mentioning. So we've got this very futuristic looking weapon with some quite recognizable accessories. We've got an EOTechie looking reflex sight, fairly conventional looking magnifier behind that, and like a PEQ-esque laser light aiming module. It's funny how in sci-fi games, well, actually in movies as well, how even if the gun is quite science fiction, the accessories tend to just be, certainly in some movies, off-the-shelf accessories just bolted on. And this is the sort of computer game version of that. I suppose it's a sort of visual language thing that if you're coming over from something like Call of Duty, you have to know what these things are intuitively. Oh yeah, I need an aiming module, I need a sight, I need the buttstock even on this is really quite conventional compared to the rest of the gun. So I think it's probably to do with accessorization and recognition factor of those accessories. And also, of course, because we don't know what future accessories will be. Will they be fully integrated into the gun somehow? Will they be modules that you click in and out of a housing? Will they even attach to something like a Picatinny rail? Who knows? Right. I'm struggling to think. This reminds me of something, and I think it's a sort of weird mashup of an SVD and something like the Origin 12 shotgun, or a Saiga shotgun with a drum mag on it, and then the front half is just completely wacky. Don't know what that is. There is, several degrees removed, a real gun under all this, I think, at least in concept. This is an unusual take on the underbarrel secondary weapon concept. Typically a grenade launcher, sometimes a shotgun. This is a shotgun too, but rather than just firing it from where it is, i.e. under the barrel, we hit a button and the whole front of the gun rotates to place the secondary weapon in front of the action. So in concept, I suppose that's fair enough. So your carrier group, operates feed mechanism, all of that is one part, and then you change the barrel for a different type of weapon, but then that would have to have its own feed device or be single shot anyway. So I'm not really seeing what the advantage is here. Or you're doubling up on, you only need one breech mechanism, but the breech mechanism for an underbarrel shotgun or grenade launcher is typically a very simple double action trigger. So not very bulky or weighty anyway, so there would be no point in this sort of turnover system. We do see that, however, on muzzle loaders, and we call them turnover guns because they don't have a feed mechanism, because powder and bullet is loaded into the two barrels, and then you fire one, and then you have a common lock mechanism which you still have to reprime, and then you turn over the barrel cluster to the other barrel. But that's for a very different purpose than this. But who knows? Maybe that was the inspiration. Seems unlikely.
Yeah, this one's not even a gun. But
goodness sake!
People would be upset if I didn't show you this.
I'm upset that you have shown me this. So, Eridian Fabricator shoots guns instead of bullets. Is that one up from the Portal thing where we fire the whole cartridge? Why not shoot the gun? Fires 10 guns per 10 iridium. Okay, so this is some kind of ammunition or resource in the game that I'm not privy to. And it looks like that thing from the original series of Star Trek that eats starships. Well, that was oddly hypnotic to watch. So it is, it does what it says on the tin. It shoots guns, but not as a weapon. At least, I don't think it can be used as a weapon. I'm wondering now if it can, in fact, be used like a not very good weapon, like the rocket launcher from Fallout. Don't know, maybe we'll find out. And in any case, on face value, it is what it says. It's a fabricator. It produces lots of guns that you can then choose from, I suppose, to actually shoot people with. It's funny, it's creative. What can I say? Wow. I don't know if I'm even allowed to read this out, but this is apparently the one Pump Chump, magazine size of 1. So it's a pump action, presumably shotgun, and even though it has a a magazine tube below the barrel. Apparently, that only has 1 round in it. So, I mean, what else can I say? Right, I think I understand this a bit better now. So the combination of the base characteristic of the gun and the modifier, effectively, is that you may get 2 shots out of it, but you might only get 1. You don't know, and that's the inherent drawback of the thing. But it does seem to have a decent amount of damage. And I suppose if I'm really reaching, depending where you are in the world, magazine capacities are restricted. Can't think of any that are restricted to a capacity of 1, and apart from anything else, even if you did have a magazine restricted to 1 round, you could still put another one in the chamber, which would give you 2 by default. Although it's quite a conventional looking gun, it isn't really matching up with reality very well, despite basically being a pump action shotgun. Of course, the glaring issue with that is that you'd still have to pump it for the 2nd shot or the 3rd shot or the 4th shot. I mean, because this is a dice roll, it's essentially a semi-automatic shotgun that jams after 1 or more shots, that is styled as a pump action, because even with a semi-automatic shotgun you have to cock it for the 1st round, and that's really all that you're doing here. Kind of intriguing, but stupid. Interesting looking gun, triple barreled. I guess the barrels rotate. It's got a scope. If I had to categorize this, I'd say it's probably going to be some sort of light machine gun, but the buttstock and scope suggest maybe not. Let's try and get a handle on how this thing works. So no, it's not a machine. Well, no, not a machine gun. More of a triple-barreled anti-materiel rifle. And somehow, I don't know why you'd bother. Yet again, we have a feed mechanism in the back, rotating barrels up front. What does rotating the barrels achieve? Well, it couldn't really achieve anything, could it? Looks damn cool and sounds good. The general overall appearance of it is yeah. It's like what if we put 3 barrels, like rotating Gatling barrels, on an anti-materiel rifle? And the answer is, it'd be pointless.
Is that all you got?
Right, this game is throwing me for a loop time after time. It is a sort of hybrid of a Gatling machine gun and an anti-materiel rifle, which I suppose we can, if we think of the Browning 50 machine gun, the M2, that was a heavy caliber machine, or heavy machine gun, large caliber machine gun that was occasionally used as a stand-in sniper rifle with a magnifying optic attached to it, because it was inherently very accurate, being a big, thick, heavy barrel, very long-range, powerful cartridge, and a fixed mount. So in a pinch, you could use it as an anti-materiel rifle or a long-range sniper rifle. This is a sort of fantasy ultimate take on that. You fire it from the hip, the barrels spin round and give you presumably cooling advantage, maybe rate of fire advantage, but then we zoom in and we can fire it slowly like a sniper rifle. I mean, what can I say? It's called the Porta-Pooper 5000. I mean, do you really want an attempt at serious commentary on this thing? I suppose you're going to get it. I mean, the thing looks like it's covered in it, doesn't it? I don't know if there's a clean version of this gun. Inexplicably, the yellow bits are clean, and then the rest of it is just brown. Maybe it's an aesthetic, I don't know. All right, let's watch it. Well, as we could have predicted, it's a sort of flamethrower-looking grenade launcher that fires irradiated shite. Can I say this is unusual even for a Borderlands game, I would suggest, and it defies interpretation. That there's I'm going to try anyway. There's some sort of a vented nozzle, like a well, more like a weed burner really than a flamethrower, but you know, reminds me of video game flamethrower. A completely pointless front sight there, lots of pipes, and it's kind of punting out explosive radioactive poo bombs. I tell a lie, the front sight is not completely pointless. It is for use in conjunction with a really terrible rear sight that has a weird shape for no reason, but at least you've got something to line up your front sight with, I suppose. And then, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what's happening with the rest of it. We seem to be recoating it with poop at one point.
Come on, come on! The brown snake's poking through my ass grass!
Join us again next time, and in the meantime, if you'd like to donate to us, there are links in the description. Goodbye.